1, 2, 3, 4. All right, welcome back to episode 101 of Country and Cold Cans. I am Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle. Be sure to give us 5 stars and a great review on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Stitcher. And click the description of this podcast where it says, click here to leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got any questions, anything you just want to say to us, we'll play it on the show. We'll respond here within the next week or two. Check out the website, countryandcoldcans.com, for blog content and our shop. We have brand new t-shirts and hats that are available. And you know what? That's countryandcoldcans.com/shop. All right, fellas. Andy, big news. I know that you kind of made some moves over the weekend. Trucker Andy.
If you say so.
Well, power moves.
You made some power moves, and you didn't just go into it and be like halfway limp dick. You went full on.
Full erect. On the table.
On the table. Look at me, motherfucker. That's what you basically did.
If you say so.
Biggest dick in the room energy.
Well, do you want me to tell the story? Or do you want to just tell people first what you bought and then I tell the story?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was jealous.
Well, I
had to asshole tell people what you did.
Well, I mean, you didn't just bring it up. I brought it up. But all I know is Andy nearby gave me a heart attack on Saturday. So a little background for the trucker Andy, for those that don't know him personally. He, since I've known him, which has been since we were 5 years old, has either driven a 1990 F-150, a 2001 F-150, or a 2003 Dodge Dakota. He has been the most anti-new vehicle man I have ever met in my life. Anytime that me or any of our friends have ever tried to be like, you know what, Andy, you should get you another vehicle. You know, you're a successful truck driver now. Andy's like, nope, not going to do it. Let me tell you why. He goes, well, basically, it's dumb for me to do that because I'm on the road most of the time. And, you know, why would I want to have payments on something? I don't need something new. It'd be just a waste of money. We're like, all right, Andy. A couple years later, we try the same thing. We get the same speech, right? So Andy calls me. And keep in mind a little caveat with this story, because it was the double whammy that got me. I couldn't process all of this all at once. My mind was kind of blown. Andy has been strictly no alcohol, sober, 2 straight years, straight edge, like CM Punk back in the day. Andy, no beer. No beer Andy is what he became. Andy calls me. We were at a buddy of ours' birthday celebration at a brewery in Wendell. Andy calls me and says, hey, where you doing? I said, well, I'm at Beer to Be, the brewery. And he goes, all right, I'm about an hour out. I'll be there. I said, all right, hell yeah, cool. Well, Andy shows up about an hour later, walking in with a grin on his face from ear to ear, like he had seen his first pair of boobies. And I'm sitting there and like, what is he smiling about? I don't know. Well, Andy comes up to me and says, well, I did it. And I said, what'd you do? Andy's like, I bought a new truck. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe he went from a 2003 to a 2010, because that would be a very, in line with Andy historically. That would be a very in line Andy move. He goes, no, tell him what you bought, Andy.
2020 Chevy.
What kind of Chevy?
2500.
Hell yeah, he did.
It is a Silverado. I didn't know it was a Silverado until today. It's wrote on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Silverado 1500, Silverado 2500. But
I know these things.
Andy comes rolling up in there in a 2020 Silverado 2500. Thing is badass, man. Like, it is sick. Like, probably was the coolest vehicle parked on the street in the whole town of Wendell right then. And I was just blown away. That was one thing, because that's just out of character, right? Then he goes, I'll be back in a minute. Now he walks up. I'm thinking he's going up to the bar to order a nice sody. But instead, he comes back with a 16 ouncer of a West Coast IPA called the Tropical Coastline.
He starts drinking it. The other one wasn't as good.
But he starts drinking it. And so my brain is just going a mile a minute right now. Just like, what happened in the last 2 weeks? I was like, I don't know. Like, he hadn't said anything about going back to drinking. He hadn't said anything about going to go get a new vehicle, but by golly, Andy, you blew my mind on Saturday. I was like, all right, maybe he's back. I don't know.
And gets everybody with the truck. It's only one package above the work truck.
But it doesn't look like a work truck.
I got to make.
It doesn't look like it. Downgrade.
I have to make one statement.
Downgrade it, but
I'm getting annoyed with Andy's humble brags.
I know he is.
It's slightly annoying. It isn't that nice. Yes, it is, Andy. Shut up, Andy.
Look. It's a work truck that looks good. Chevy did something right. Never had a Chevy.
Well, that's what we all are. We're work trucks that look good.
Yeah, but you don't have like the shitty steel rims. You don't have like the like extended cab. You've got a crew cab 2500 with decent rims.
That's right.
And that thing looks sharp as a damn knife. Like
it does look really good.
It looks really good.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good.
Yeah, now, it's fresh, bro. It's fresh to death.
The biggest thing is you were in for probably like a just ridiculously big upgrade technology wise in the vehicle. I'm sure.
It's got air conditioning. I haven't had AC or heat for a couple years,
which blows my mind. But now, how does it feel being a newer vehicle?
He's got power windows.
I had power windows before. Just it only worked on the driver's side door. Nobody else could roll their windows down.
That's a bitch with no AC or heat.
It's got a button. And tailgate goes down by itself, and that's pretty trick.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know. It's kind of trick. It don't go up by itself. Apparently, the fancier ones, it goes up by itself too.
Oh, that's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. It's got lights on it. That's fancy. Like,
well, you don't have to use
like headlights.
Well, he's got like automatic lights. He doesn't have to use a pair of pliers to turn them on anymore.
It's got like lights on the mirrors that like point back when you're backing up, so you can see and forward.
Does it have your automatic high beams and low beams? That's the greatest feature ever.
I don't think so. I don't like that stuff. It gets on my nerves. My parents' car has it. It gets on my nerves.
Bailey's Honda has it. I don't ever have to worry about being an asshole and forgetting the high beams are on. It's the greatest thing in the world.
I don't believe in high beams.
It's an interesting take, but okay.
It's a scam.
They're much brighter.
They are much brighter, especially when you're going down. There's nobody around you, and they're going down a country road.
I've been done with them since they took the button off the floor.
You got cruise control? Convenient.
Yeah, I had that before.
Oh. You got that adaptive cruise control? Where it brakes for you and shit?
I don't think so. I don't think I got that.
That's dope, bro.
That stuff is cool. I've got one on my Camry.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about running into nobody. It brakes for you. You can pretty much just sit there and not even hold the wheel.
Steve, the nice thing is, though, this sounds bad. If I hit somebody, I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's plenty of truck.
Yeah.
As the first when I got it, this hyped me up on the way home to buy it too. Is I played Rednecker by Hardy several times.
Was that the first song you played?
Absolutely.
That's very fitting for that truck, yeah.
The first thing I was going to tell Logan is my town's smaller than your town. But when we were leaving that brewery, a guy in Colorado, we both pulled up to the stop sign about the same time, and he stopped first. He waved me through, and that's right.
You got the big 7.3 in there, or is it the other one? The 6.7 or whatever.
It's got a motor.
A motor.
It's got a V8. I don't know.
It's definitely got a V8 if it's 2500.
It's got a V8. That's all I can tell you. It goes quick.
You should come home and just flex in the Sonic parking lot. How many chicks are going to be into you?
I'm good. I am not that big of white trash.
Well,
we're all like 2 degrees. Like, what is it? Something.
See, Andy, we're all like 2 tropical coastline IPAs from devolving back into redneck white trash.
This is the way I described it the other day. This may make you more white trash, but when you say this, I'm like a piece of white trash, but a nice piece of trash, kind of piece of trash you see on the curb and you wonder why somebody threw it away and you pick it up and take it home with you and keep it.
Well, you also have you got Apple CarPlay now.
Yep.
That shit's nice. That's life changing.
Nice.
The backup camera, the screen.
I got Bluetooth. I haven't had Bluetooth, so that's nice. I was cool with Bluetooth.
Apple CarPlay is like one of the greatest things ever. The first time I experienced it was in my work truck, and I was like, "This is fantastic." You know, you
The
get the
GPS is
GPS.
that's the nice part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
with that
is.
screen, hell yeah.
I use GPS in town. I don't even need it. I just used it just because I can.
There you go, humble bragging again. Look at you.
You know, the one thing you ought to look into getting, it's better if you have people riding with you than it is if it's a little dangerous if it's just you. But I saw that I keep getting this ad for this thing called the Magic Box, where you connect it to your
Oddly
vehicle.
sexual.
Well, you can connect it to your vehicle for Apple CarPlay, and it connects to your phone, and then it converts your screen into a TV screen. We'll put like, say if you're watching Joe Rogan podcast, or you want to put you're driving on the way somewhere and like NC State's playing or something, you could put it up on the screen to watch the game at stoplights. It looks pretty cool when it works with almost every vehicle, allegedly.
The nicest thing,
Yeah,
I think, for the passengers, which I've learned this from riding in the back seat of Logan, this has rear vents.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's clutch. That's clutch.
That's been a hell trip. Hungover
Those North
on the way
Carolina
back from
summers,
the beach.
yeah. Those North
Hungover in
Carolina
the back
summers.
seat with no AC.
Now,
Oh,
Logan,
God.
I've always wondered how those work because Apple and Android never admit it, but when you hook to CarPlay, it drastically throttles your connection.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Mine
So
works pretty much
Mine
the
works
same.
pretty good.
try to stream a live video.
Well, I do all the time, but I just can't watch it. I have to listen to it when, like, I'm on the way to go watch a state game or something.
Yeah.
Live depends on where you're at too. I've learned that.
I've noticed that I have a work phone. If I pull up Hulu on my work phone and then my personal phone that's hooked to Apple CarPlay, the one that's hooked to Apple CarPlay just stands no chance. I don't know if it's an Apple CarPlay thing, but the phone there, side by side, but it will throttle the hell out of the one connected to Apple CarPlay. I always wonder if that's
you're the
that's
IT nerd, so I guess you're right.
I mean, it makes sense for them to do that because they don't want you to watch live TV while you're riding down the road.
Yeah, that's true.
With general music, it doesn't do anything.
Now, with I will say, Andy, if you'll notice it now that you got both listening to music on Bluetooth versus listening to a connected Apple CarPlay, it's much crisper and cleaner sounding through CarPlay than it is through Bluetooth.
I haven't noticed the difference.
Pay attention to it. You'll notice it.
The other thing you need to do, Andy, is go in your truck's audio settings and hit prioritize driver. It's life-changing. So what it does,
What does that do?
so you know how you can have your equalizer and you can do your fade back, front, blah, blah, blah. A lot of new vehicles have a setting where it's already pre-calibrated to where all the speakers are actually fine-tuned to have the best audio quality on you as the driver. Now, if you're a passenger, it sounds like shit. But if you're just riding by yourself a lot, it's so much better.
I am coming from an FM transmitter, so
yeah, I love my it gives me the option to prioritize driver. It's fantastic.
Andy, I remember when we
I'll
first
look
got our
into it.
FM transmitters in college, we thought we were some big shit.
I know, because we were right. For some reason, we were driving separate to Hooters and listening to each other's FM transmitters.
It kept like going to the other person's car.
I remember
Back in the day.
I was hyped as hell when we both learned. Well, we all learned what a 5mm jack was, and we was like, "Oh, we can do aux cables." Yeah, that was it was fantastic.
It was a game changer because I came from the in high school where I had a 1990 F1. Andy and I both drove early 90s F-150s, and mine. So I had a cassette player. I didn't even have a CD player.
Yep.
And I had one of those cassettes with the cord on it that you get at Walmart. Plug
That
it in,
was better.
and then plug that in. That was better than the FM transmitter, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
And even in my 2001 Expedition I had in college, I still would use that more than the transmitter because it still had a cassette player, and that was just it didn't mess up.
It was more reliable,
get staticky. Yeah, it was way more reliable.
Yeah, my 2001 Jetta that I got when I first got my license had a cassette player, and man, that was the move there, buddy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was foolproof. It didn't mess up Because the thing about those FN transmitters, every time you put up to a stoplight, it was all static.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about a stoplight, but
Nope.
And these youngins today will never know.
Playing their Imagine Dragons.
On their Apple CarPlay.
I mean, they basically have computers in their pocket. I used to have an iPod connected to my F-150.
I didn't have a smartphone until I was 20.
I was like 19.
Yeah. So, and now they're like 12 getting them.
I know, right? I didn't even have a phone when I was 12.
No.
This is where the Zoomers are like, okay, boomer.
Yeah. Yep. We're old, man.
Mm-hmm.
On the losing side of 25.
So I was watching this podcast the other day. I only see clips of it because God knows they're like 4 or 5 hours long, so it's too much to sit through the whole thing. But it's a podcast called the Whatever Podcast.
Oh, that shit's cringe, bro.
Dude, yeah, it has like this guy named Brian Atlas, I think is his name. He has like all the a panel of it's like they talk about like dating stuff, but then it diverges into like culture stuff. And he has like this panel of like girls that are Gen Zers on there. And the slang they use, I have a hard time understanding what they're talking about.
Yes. I have so many questions on that podcast. One, let's face it, a lot of those girls are really young, but those are really attractive women.
Oh, of course.
And I'm just like,
it's a video.
You're just some random ass dude. Like, how did you convince him to come on your show?
He has 4 million subscribers.
Oh, okay.
That's how he convinced them.
And the other thing is,
very, very popular show.
All the clips I see, he's very confrontational towards them.
Sometimes.
Maybe that's just the clips I see.
Now, sometimes, like when he has like most of the clips I've seen that have been confrontational have been between like one of the female panelists and then one of the male people that are also a guest on the other side of the table. That's kind of where I've seen it get confrontational. But I'm not gonna lie, like the it's almost like the same entertainment value as like Jerry Springer, where you want them to get into it and it's entertaining to watch other people fight. So like those are the clips that go viral. That I discovered it from like Instagram Reels. Yeah, and then I just started watching like clips of it on YouTube, and it's kind of funny.
But they're not like too intellectual.
No, like
going at each other.
There was this one girl that said the word like 48 times in a sentence.
I saw that, and I actually felt kind of sorry for her because, I mean, one, she's on a massive podcast, and she's going to get
of course
tore up for that. But
yeah, she was just talking like she probably does when she's hanging out with her girls, right? And they all understand each other. But then, like old people like us are just sitting there. We're just like, "What is this girl saying?" And then the internet, they are they're
ruthless.
Savage. They're savage, yeah.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting because I had not known what it was until the last 2 weeks. But you know how YouTube works. You watch one video and then suddenly you get more YouTube videos for it, and you keep watching it and you keep laughing. And the algorithm gets you. We talk about that all the time. The algorithm gets you.
Google's got you.
But
I've never heard of this.
Before we check it out, Andy, I think you actually would appreciate it. But before we get into the main topic today, we're going to be talking about the new Volume 1 EP is what they're calling it, but it's almost what we would classify as an album, Hero Country Cold Cans by Them Dirty Roses. But before we get into that, I do want to play a quick little game with you guys because, we like to bitch about inflation, how much cost of goods and services have gone up significantly last couple of years, because God knows I feel like that I'm spending so much money on everything. I went to Walgreens yesterday, and we're going to play a little game called How Much Did It Cost? So I went to Walgreens yesterday. I had to pick up a few household items. I'm going to read off to you what I bought, and I want you to guess how much was the final bill. So I bought shampoo, conditioner, beard oil, 2 packs of flushable wipes, 2 sodas, and a can of Velo.
What size soda?
And a tube of toothpaste. 16 ounce sodas. And a tube of toothpaste. Crest or Colgate, one of the two.
Was it the big one or the medium size one?
Just the regular size. I got the dual pack because it was like $2 more than the regular.
What's Zello?
Velo? It's like
Zest. Yeah, whatever.
It's like nicotine.
That was $3.63.
Okay, that one I don't know that one.
I feel like at Walgreens it's going to cost exponentially more.
Walgreens ain't cheap.
It depends on where you go. I've seen variance in price with that stuff, but I'll repeat it again just so you and the listener can definitely get a good grasp on everything. Like I said, everyday items, nothing crazy. Got a shampoo, conditioner, beard oil, 2 packs of flushable wipes, a can of Velo, 2 16-ounce sodas, and a dual pack of Colgate or Crest toothpaste. One of the two.
I'm going to say $64.
Yeah, that was pretty close to what I was going to guess. I'm gonna move to my other guess. I'm gonna go with 76, and I think beard oil is a waste of money.
It is not a waste of money if your beard is grows thicker, Andy. Yours is not thick enough for
I think you can use. I think you can use conditioner.
If you were to, well, it's actually a beard conditioner. I don't know why I said beard oil, but it's beard conditioner.
I'm talking about your regular one.
And that doesn't work as good. I've tried both. This keeps it from flaking, whereas regular conditioner doesn't do as good.
I can't use conditioner. My hair is extremely oily. If I put conditioner in my hair, I would look like I haven't taken a bath in a week.
So Kyle said 64, Andy said 76.
Yep.
Well, I wish that either of you were correct. It was $109.
What kind of shampoo are you buying?
I'm not gonna lie. I bought female shampoo.
Okay, you bought some Tresemme or some shit like that, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't use that stuff that in 10 years you're gonna be bald because it burns your hair follicles 3-in-1 crap.
I'm already going bald. Bro, what did you buy?
I told you what I bought.
I get that Garnier stuff, that green stuff. That's
what I bought.
Super cheap.
That's what I bought.
In the green bottle?
Yeah, that's women's shampoo, by the way. That's not men's.
Pretty sure it's for both. But
it's women's shampoo.
Bro. Dog, you got ripped off.
No, I paid the price that was listed on the
Walmart
on all
way
the
cheaper
products. Well, that's the thing, though.
That's very steep.
I didn't want to go to Walmart, so I went to Walgreens to pick up a few items. $109 later. I'm telling you, dude, inflation's a killer.
That's the only thing I don't buy.
I don't remember.
God.
See,
and I get fancy toothpaste.
But see, on top of that, my lunch today at the barbecue restaurant, I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to trash them because I love the restaurant.
That's pretty expensive.
2 years ago, it was $12. A month ago, it was $16. $16 a month ago. Today, it came in at $20. That's how quickly inflation's still a problem, and it's constantly going up on us month over month. So my Walgreens run may have cost me $75 2 months ago, but it doesn't now.
I think you got ripped off too.
No, I know.
Apparently, I get fancy stuff too.
I wasn't jockeying with the lady behind the cash register being like, she's like 120. I'm like, no, 85. Like, no, it was just the price that was listed. She rang up the barcodes. I watched her do it. And it came out to 109.
I'm saying Walgreens is overpriced because I think I could have got the same thing way cheaper at Walmart. I get fancy toothpaste.
No, it would have been cheaper at Walmart, yes. You're paying a little bit higher at Walgreens. But you're paying a little bit higher at Walgreens because you don't have to go to Walmart.
I'm going to sound
Walmart can be a hassle.
uber privileged here. I've never paid for toothpaste.
Well, you just not brush your teeth?
No, my mom's a hygienist and she just gives me toothpaste.
Oh.
Never once paid for it.
That's like our buddy Clint. He doesn't pay for shampoo because his girlfriend's a stylist, so she gets like really nice shampoo for really cheap compared to what do they sell at retail?
Us peasants.
How do we get in on that deal?
She said that she would get a bottle so I could try it because she was telling me, Andy, that apparently you and I, without knowing it, we use the same shampoo. Like she said that stuff is crappy, and I'm like, well, it's better than what we used to use.
It's better than Dove.
Hey man,
Andy's like, it's better than using body wash on your head.
I can't use body wash because I have really greasy hair, and if I don't use shampoo, it looks like
you're not supposed to use body wash in your hair anyway.
I know, but my point is like I can't even cheat because it looks like I have a vat of used cooking oil on my head. I don't even buy shampoo anymore. I just started using Bailey's. She got so upset about it, she buys my shampoo now.
Kyle just has everybody buying him things, is what it sounds like.
I know.
No,
Rich get richer.
No, not really. Hey,
says the man driving a 2500.
That's
Anyways.
right. That's right. That is going to be our subtle insult now for
Yeah, if you see,
at least
I paid
10
for
years.
it. And I got to buy my own shampoo and toothpaste.
Hey, man, the shampoo, in my defense, I shouldn't have to pay for the shampoo. I'm paying for the water for her to wash her ass. The shampoo is just kind of there.
Well, some of us have to pay for water and shampoo, so.
I mean, look, what for a while there, it was the 3-in-1 stuff I would use. And then I ran
that
out.
Stuff's terrible for you.
Oh, well, I used it for a long time. And a bar of soap, some old Irish Spring soap. And I was bumming her Tresemme shampoo. And then she got absurdly angry about that. She was like, that is really expensive shampoo, blah, blah, blah.
And you probably were just taking like a whole bunch of it and putting it in your hand.
Yeah,
not
I was.
Even, yeah,
I was just
using it very liberally.
Yeah. And she was like, why is a shampoo bottle so light? It's not, I haven't used that much of it. And I was like,
she's like, I just bought it yesterday.
I just washed my hair with it the other morning.
It was like,
oh, sorry,
Santa,
do that.
Kyle's got a Santa Claus beard.
I mean, my hair was full of fluff and full bodied, So I guess it was working.
Kyle just does a hair flip. Wasn't it worth it?
It was looking mighty thick up there. Yeah, well, but note to self, when you do get to that point, don't use women's shampoo. They get really territorial over that.
I believe that. But basically, I'm going to end it with this. I think I'm going to have to go back to fighting the Walmart crowds because
it's not much
save
better.
that extra $25, $20. Like,
it's not much better. The little basket of food line. Normally, when I used to go pick up a couple groceries for dinner for 2 or 3 nights, it might have been like $30-$40. If you throw some meat in there, maybe $50. That same basket's over $100 now.
Oh yeah. My groceries a few years ago, it would cost me $50 to $70 for a week's worth of groceries. Like if I go in there and get 2.5 bags full now, it's $100. It's just things are out of control, man. Yeah. It's out of control.
Yep. Don't you even dare look at the luxuries like steak and shrimp.
Lord have mercy. I used to buy steak and eat it every week. I don't
I did too.
I used to get a nice ribeye and cook it for myself. Dude, I was living like a king for about 1.5 years.
Yeah, I was too. You get old fat. Sometimes I might even splurge and go over to the deli and be like, cut me one about 1 inch thick.
Right. I miss 2019 is all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Now you're like, well, I can get that stew meat for about the same price.
Yeah. I go to Costco and buy an 18-pack of Uncrustables for $13 just so I have some sandwiches in the house because that actually ended up being cheaper for lunch, and I didn't have to make the sandwich myself. So it was
I've never once been to Costco.
I'm a Costco member, gold member. I'll show my card.
I want to try the hot dog and pizza slice thing that I see all about.
Dude, the hot dog and a soda for $1.50. Best deal in town.
That's absurd.
I've gone to lunch at Costco. It's near my office. I've gone to Costco just to eat lunch before.
I don't blame you. Shit,
$1.50? Like it's a foot long. Well, it's not a foot long, but it's a big hot dog.
Yeah, don't they do pizza like a nice? Don't they do pizza the same way?
Yeah, pizza's pretty cheap too. It's not as cheap as the hot dog, but it's definitely if you want something that's like if you're not health conscious,
it's edible.
If you're not health conscious and you want a cheap lunch and you can get into a Costco, eat the lunch there.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of that. Never been though.
That concludes our culture section here on Country and Cold Cans. Now let's talk some music. So there's a record that came out a few weeks ago that we had passed around within the group chat here on Country and Cold Cans that we all were a fan of. We wanted to talk about it here on the show called Lost in the Valley of Hate and Love, Volume 1 by Them Dirty Roses. We all had encountered Them Dirty Roses. I think, Andy, you were the one that sent us Cocaine and Whiskey. The song, not the items, but when it came out or around the time it came out, you sent it to us because I do remember you playing it for us and everything. We all liked that song. This came out And, they're a band from Gadsden, Alabama. Frontman is James Ford with his brother on the drums, Frank Ford, lead guitar, Andrew Davis, and bass player, Ben Crane. They're a 4-piece band. They don't do the normal twin lead guitars that you hear from a lot of like Southern rock and Southern rock inspired bands. Their sound on this album is very indicative of what their live sound is what I've heard. I haven't seen them live, but it says it's pretty close to like what their live sound is. They're apparently a very, very fantastic live band. So they're one on my list I definitely want to see whenever they come near this direction in North Carolina. But 4-piece unit that is really kind of in the vein of that modern kind of Southern rock sound is what I hear when I was listening to this. Kind of like, about a decade or so ago, you have Blackberry Smoke and Whiskey Myers that are now like big bands. The lead singer, James Ford's vocals, I hear kind of like that soulful Southern rock voice. It reminds me, it's not exactly, but it kind of gives me the same vibes as like what Cody Cannon's voice at Whiskey Myers sounds like, with the soulfulness and just that kind of like a rangy Southern rock sound that I tend to like really like. This album was one that I was a big fan of just because, one, I do like Southern rock. I like Southern rock inspired music. This was kind of in that vein. And I liked that there was a cohesiveness in the theme of the record, save for like the opening track. The opening track is kind of like the outlier on what the song's about, but the record in general is very much about being a band that is always on the road, trying to make it while dealing with like temptations out there. Whether it's drugs, infidelity, or just like, just the rough life that it is being on the road, traveling, being a touring band all the time. This was an album that really is up my alley. And I sent it to you guys. You guys remembered the song that Andy had played for us a while back. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the new release. And this is volume 1, so there is a volume 2 that will be coming. I'm very much looking forward to that. But what were y'all's thoughts on Lost in the Valley of Hate and Love Volume 1?
I hear when because you said, I think when you sent it to us, you said it sounded like, was it the Black Crowes?
Yeah, I said you could tell they were inspired by the Black Crowes. The Black Crowes is my guess, is what I took when I first listened.
I can hear that. And to me, I don't, this may come off wrong, but it's not how I mean it. They sound like the general sound of classic rock radio, and in a good way. Like I like it. It very much feels like classic rock when they kind of have that sound, but
I get what you mean.
It was like I don't want to say it's like generic classic rock, but it gives that vibe. I didn't know they're from Alabama. That's when you said that, like where they're from Gadsden, Alabama. I was like, hey, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I like this quite a bit, and the more I've listened to it, the more I've liked it. When I first listened to it, I was kind of like bookends, but now I've listened to it more than once. The sound is probably my favorite thing so far, and for the most part, lyrically, it's also down my alley. But the sound for it kind of really stands out to me. That's gotten me pretty hype on it so far, I would say.
I wouldn't quite call them classic rock. I think their sound is in that in-between period between hair metal and the 90s grunge era. They got a little bit of hair metal flair, but they're not quite 80s rock either.
What would that be? Like Guns N' Roses, maybe?
Yeah. They're not quite Aerosmith and Boston, and Poison's a little later.
So you'd be saying like Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi?
Yeah, they're more like late 80s, but before the transition really happened in the 90s out of hair metal. That's kind of the more sound I have from them. They have some wicked guitar solos. Fantastic. They do have a lot of Southern rock flair to them, which is why they're a conundrum, because I don't really know how to classify them. They hit a bunch of different. They're like a melting pot of a bunch of various things thrown together. You can hear a little bit of Leonard Skinner Southern rock, classic rock in it. You can hear a little bit of hair metal. You can hear a little bit of that in between Guns N' Roses rock era. But they're not really any of those things by themselves. They're a really interesting collaboration. Now, they have the look of hair metal. If you look at their band members, they look like straight hair metal.
It looks sick.
Yeah, they're pure-blooded rock and rollers.
Yeah, I think they look like they're just the way the band looks. I think they look very much like some of those old Southern rock bands with, just their aesthetics.
Oh yeah. It's when I was looking them up, it's not much information on them, but it is cool that there's two brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
also another thing you see a lot, with like Southern rock bands from a long time ago, like Leonard Skinner, the Allman Brothers, kind of stuff like that.
Yep.
Doobie Brothers.
The Doobie Brothers, smoking doobies.
It wasn't until like a year ago that I learned where Leonard Skinner got their name from.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know, but it came from a gym teacher that told him they weren't going to be shit, and his name was like Leonard. It's like one or two letters off Leonard Skinner, and that's who they named them. Yeah, I thought that was the craziest thing. I didn't even know that for the longest time.
I remember reading that at some point, but I had forgotten who the person was. That's funny. It was a gym teacher.
Yeah,
that's petty, and I like petty shit.
Yeah, he told me he was none of them were going to be shit, and they slightly modified his name, but yeah.
So one thing I wanted to I brought up, as you two can see, and obviously the audience can't, but I shared my screen so you guys can listen to this. Probably one of my favorite songs on the album was Sunday Drunk. But I kept thinking for days, what does that lead guitar line sound like to me? And it sounded very familiar. And this is what theirs sounds like. So that's Them Dirty Roses, Sunday Drunk, lead
it does sound very, yeah.
And then I was like, it's a John Party song. I know that lead guitar line. It sounds very familiar. Then I finally found it. Lucky Tonight by John Party. And so this stuff happens in music all the time. I'm not sitting here saying there's anything salacious going on. I just was like, that sounds very familiar. And it immediately, I liked it because I like that lead guitar line for Lucky Tonight. I like the lyricism of Sunday Drunk better than Lucky Tonight, because Lucky Tonight is just a song about trying to get lucky. But I was like, for days I've been like racking my brain, and it finally hit me earlier today. I was like, I want to play it for you guys, but it sounds very similar, and I was like, it instantly felt familiar.
I kind of like the Dirty Roses one a little bit better.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's interesting.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, it's not, I don't know, when you listen to theirs and you listen to John Party's just sounds overproduced in comparison.
It sounded a little slicker because he's a mainstream country artist.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have picked that. I wouldn't have picked it up if we hadn't played them side by side.
Right. You felt like that the way I felt like on Hardy's album, trying to figure out all of the new metal and classic and 90s rock riffs they stole. Yeah. It's like, damn it, I know this one. Andy, Black Magic Lady sounds like a catchphrase you would say.
Yeah, pretty likely. But
it's
probably
just
maybe because Black Magic Woman.
Maybe, I don't know. It just reminds me of just, you went on a date with a girl and you're like, she has that black magic. That's all I could imagine is just Andy saying that.
Yeah, I could see me getting really drunk and coming back and saying that.
Yeah, so I was like, damn, that sounds like an Andy ass saying.
I can see that. I give you that.
Sunday Drunk was actually one of my least favorite songs on the album.
Really?
Yeah, actually, same.
See, I love that song. I think I like what the song's about, and then, like I said, I think the familiarity of the guitar line and it kind of like caught my ear. But I like what that song's about in general. Like, it's it just I don't know the familiarity of the guitar line hooked me in, and then the song just sitting there talking about how like within the chorus is what I'm trying to pull up right now. So it's like where I can't help but wonder what might have been. Maybe I'll just get a little lonely every now and then, but maybe you could learn to love me for what I am, or maybe happily ever after always comes to an end. It's the dour outlook. Like there's a little kernel of optimism within the song, but ultimately you come back to the same conclusion that, maybe this shit just isn't going to work out. I tend to like music about that stuff. So I think it kind of sold me on that. What was y'all's favorite?
Black Magic Lady's my favorite.
I think that song's about drugs.
The way that song ends, where it gets to the I'm about to go off, and then they pause and do the you part. That done. That's sick. I like that. That's my favorite.
That song sounds fantastic.
It's so good.
I love some Black Magic Lady. I really like Holy Roller.
Really? That's my least favorite song on the album.
I knew Logan wasn't gonna like it, but when you said that, you're like, I was like, so I skipped it first and listened to it last. And when I listened to it, I was like, I got a feeling me and Kyle are gonna like this one quite a bit.
I like the way it sounds. I just think that it's out of place on this project. I don't think the song by itself in a vacuum is bad. I just think that it doesn't fit the rest of the album because like thematically, and I think that's my issue with it.
The reason I like it, I get hardcore Alter Bridge vibes from this song.
Yeah, it does. I wouldn't have picked that up, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I love Alter Bridge. Phenomenal band.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like I said, I don't think the song's bad. Like I was listening to it earlier today, and I think on shuffle it's fine. But listening to it as an album, as a cohesive project, I just think it's the outlier thematically. I don't think that it fits the rest of the album.
I'm very much a back half. The back half is definitely my favorite.
Yeah,
Good
I do
Life
like
On.
Yeah, the last three.
The last four.
Oh, the last four.
You'd be Good Life, Black Magic Lady, Highway My Home, and Hell of a Note.
I loved everything Sunday drunk through Hell of a Note. So I'm probably not a good person to ask on that one. Kyle, what about you?
Oh, Good Life slaps. The opening guitar riff in the not really a riff, but the little mini solo on that just hooks you from the get go. You're like, yep, I'm down with this. I mean, there's no fat really on any of these songs. It's lean.
Like Highway My Home's got a very good lyrical content to sound mix. That's one of those just spot on. Same for Hell of a Note too, really.
Well, that's the one I wanted to bring up too, because it's with a lot of Southern rock bands in the past, they tend to have 1 to 2 songs on a record. So normally, like Southern rock is pretty rocking, right? But they have 1 to 2 songs that are a little bit more subdued, a little bit more acoustic, leans a little bit more into like a countryer sound. Like one of my favorite Lynyrd Skynyrd songs from the real Lynyrd Skynyrd pre-Plane Crash was All I Can Do Is Write About It. That was one of the more subdued, acoustic, more country moments on that project they released back then. This is kind of in that vein. It's a lot of rocking songs, and then you end it with Hell of a Note that is definitely more stripped back.
Yeah.
That song's sad, and I like sad. That's right. That's down my alley.
So, Andy, you and I were talking about Kyle. What is your take on this? Because Andy and I think that's a song about suicide.
I would probably tend to agree.
Just because the buildup of, talking about temptations on the road, sleeping with women that isn't his wife, getting home, and then just knowing that the web of lies he's weaved, and talking about looking in the mirror with that hollow stare, not recognizing yourself. And then it says, poured his heart out onto that sheet of paper and it left a hell of a note, but he's at the end of his rope. And I just was like, I think it's arguably one of the better written songs on the album.
I would agree. And at the end too, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it was something about putting the pieces of me back together, and something about like that hollow stare too that was just
Yeah.
The way it's written is so good. I love the line too, where it's the we were young and talking old. I love the way that's said.
Yeah.
The way that's worded is.
And with that part, he was talking about how he referenced the stove in the kitchen that they bought when they were young and talking old. Like you said, that the way that's phrased, but also paints the imagery of being something that he sees in the house that takes him back to a different time before he had done all these things that were bad, before he had ruined the relationship.
Who could love you better than the man that I used to be? That might not be exact.
That's pretty much what he says.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. This was a killer song. Well, that was a bad choice of words. That was not intended. It was a bad choice of words.
Yeah. It's kind of like
I liked how too it's not clear whether he does or doesn't.
Yeah, because it took me multiple listens to come to that conclusion, and I still could be wrong. But
yeah, I'm still not sure.
Yeah, I was somewhere between either a suicide note or he just leaves.
But the only thing that I think could somewhat be a hint, I'm not sure on this, could just be reading too much into it, is that it's typically a goodbye letter and a suicide note.
Yeah, and see, like the note being like the goodbye letter, but like the choice of phrase at the end of the chorus being the end of my rope. Like, that can be figurative, right? But it also could be literally, like, he writes the note because he realizes what he's done and he can't deal with it. So he's at the end of his rope, literally, and here's his goodbye note where he poured his heart onto the page.
This is one of my favorite things in music. It's like this exact thing.
Because it's not clear. It's up for interpretation.
And the saddest part is the least played song on the EP.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a different sound to it. For sure. But it's fitting.
It's very fitting. I like how it ends I like how it kind of ends the project on a cliffhanger too, because we're debating it right now, right? And then volume 2 is presumably going to be coming out in the next probably year or two. And
it was certainly stuck there for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a good EP closer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So let's go around the table, do top 3 songs on the project. Start at 3, go to 1. Andy, if you want to kick it off.
Ooh, let's do. I'm gonna go with Good Life, Hell of a Note, and Black Magic Lady.
All right, Kyle.
So I'm gonna go with Good Life, Holy Roller, and Hell of a Note. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna knock Hell of a Note off and go Black Magic Lady. That's 3.
So I'm gonna go Hell of a Note, Sunday Drunk, and probably Highway in My Home.
That one easily could have made mine.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, it's not really a wrong list. I'm very impressed with them. I'm with you on that.
There's not a lot of info out on them, so they're about to blow up, I feel like.
Cocaine and Whiskey was my jam. I love that song. I love the way that song is the way that song is written. The story it tells is awesome. And the sound of it is awesome. I love that song.
Well, on that same album, Molly slaps, bro.
Yeah.
That song, I don't know that I heard that one until you brought it up and I played it. That song really good.
Song is hard, bro.
Yeah, it's a very good song.
I spent half the time listening to the songs that weren't even on the EP that we were supposed to be listening to. And I was like, oh, shit.
I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, shit.
Got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very impressed with this project, too. I know they've opened for the Steelwoods recently, and then I've heard from
be good.
Yeah, a great concert. I know, right? And I've heard from people that have seen them live that have said that they just have this kind of like sense to them that when you see them on stage, they feel like they're going to be a headliner. And I think that I'm excited to see what's going to come from these guys down the line. But definitely check it. Same here. I'll have to look and see where what their tour schedule looks like. Hopefully we can be able to get to see them at some point. But yeah, if you look in the description of this podcast, there's a link that says click here to leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you think about Them Dirty Roses. And in particular, let us know what you think about Lost in the Valley of Hate and Love, Volume 1. We were fans of this record, recommend it. Check them out, stream their music, buy their music, go see a show. Check out the website, countryandcoldcans.com for blog content and the shop, t-shirts, hats, koozies, what have you. It's all available there, countryandcoldcans.com/shop. And be sure to give us 5 stars. Great review wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Stitcher, all available there. For this episode of Country and Cold Cans, episode 101, I'm Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle. See you next time.
Take care.